Alright, what's going on, guys? Today I'll be breaking down the NBA slate for Monday, February 13th. We got a big 11-game slate on this Monday. I'm not going to be able to touch on every single player just because it is a big slate, but I'll be sure to touch on the ones that I like and maybe the ones that I don't like. But anyways, let's just hop right into it. Alright, at point guard, your most expensive point guard on the slate is Russell Westbrook. Like I said, it is an 11-game slate, so you do not have to play Westbrook. This matchup is pretty decent. Washington's not great against the point guard, but it is an 11-game slate, so you don't have to play Westbrook. I'm probably not going to play him. There are a lot of studs on the slate worth paying up for. You can go to Westbrook, but I don't think you have to. Giannis against Detroit, that's a pretty solid matchup as well. He's definitely in play. John Wall also in play. Not really a big fan of that price tag, but he does get a solid matchup against Oklahoma City. Russell Westbrook's not a good defender. Not really a big fan of that price tag, though, but John Wall's definitely in play. Isaiah Thomas against Dallas, not really a big fan of that. Dallas does play at a slow pace, and Thomas is really expensive, so I'm probably not going to go towards IT. Steph against Denver, that's a solid matchup as well, but Steph's really been struggling lately, and he is pretty expensive, so I don't think I'm going to go there. Damian Lillard against Atlanta, that's a terrific matchup. Atlanta's one of the worst teams against the point guard. You can definitely look towards Dame. He's in play. That's a solid matchup. Not really a big fan of that price tag, but this is a great matchup, so I like Dame. Kemba against the Sixers, that's a solid matchup as well. Kemba really plays good at home, so I like Kemba, and his price is kind of cheap, so you can definitely look towards him. Eric Bledsoe, also in play against New Orleans. They're not good defensively against the point guard. If I was choosing between Bledsoe or Kemba, I'd probably go with Bledsoe. Both of them are very solid plays, though. Dragic against Orlando, that's fine. I don't really like paying that price tag for Dragic. I just try and get the extra dollars to get Bledsoe, but that's a solid matchup against Orlando. Jeff Teague against San Antonio, I'm probably not going to go there. Teague is really expensive, and San Antonio is pretty good defensively. Drew Holiday against the Suns, that's a terrific matchup. They play up in pace. You can definitely look towards him. But the guy I'm probably going to be targeting is right under him, and that's Mike Conley against the Nets. Conley is way underpriced for this matchup at only $31. He gets the best matchup any player could have, and that's against the Nets. The Nets are the worst team defensively, and they play at the fastest pace in the NBA. And like I said, Conley is way underpriced at only $31. If this game can stay close, I feel like Conley has a 30-point floor in this matchup. I love him for cash games, and he has good upside for tournaments. Conley's probably the number one point guard I'm going to be targeting on this slate. Dennis Schroeder against Portland, that's a solid matchup. They play up in pace, not great defensively. You can look towards him. George Hill against the Clippers, that's a solid matchup as well. He's definitely in play. Reggie Jackson against Milwaukee. Don't know if I'm going to go there. Jackson has really been struggling lately, but that is a pretty solid matchup. Elfrid Payton against Miami. I don't think I'm going to go there, but Miami isn't great defensively, so you could look towards him if you're targeting the mid-range. Darren Williams only played 15 minutes Friday against the Magic. This is a terrific matchup against Boston. If Williams doesn't have any minutes restriction, he's definitely in play at that price tag. He should easily be able to hit value, but be sure to check and see if he has a minutes restriction. He just came off injury, so they might try and limit him, but if he doesn't have any limits, I really like him at that price tag and the matchup. And the guy I would target for value is going to be Jameer Nelson. Manuel Mudiay is currently questionable for this game against Golden State. If Mudiay does not play, Jameer Nelson will get the start. And the 3 games that he started with Mudiay out, he's put up 21, 38, and 38 fantasy points, and he's played 30, 35, and 36 minutes. He's a terrific value play if Mudiay is out. He gets a solid matchup against Golden State. They play a very fast pace, and they're not good defensively against the point guard. So if Mudiay is out, I'm definitely going to look towards Jameer Nelson for value. And I think that's it for all the point guards. Let's go and move on to shooting guard. All right, your top shooting guard on this slate is Nicholas Batum. He gets a solid matchup against the Sixers. They're not great defensively. Just looking at the shooting guards, the optimal strategy is probably going to be to attack the mid-range, so I'm not going to pay up at shooting guard, but Batum is a solid play if you want to pay up. Same thing goes for CJ McCollum. Terrific matchup against Atlanta. He's a solid play if you want to pay up at shooting guard. But like I said, I feel like the mid-range is definitely where you're going to want to go. Bradley Beal against OKC, that's a solid matchup. Beal's price has seen an increase lately, but he's really been killing it, so you can look towards him. Klay Thompson against the Nuggets, that's a terrific matchup, and Thompson is pretty cheap. I don't think I'd use Thompson in cash, but for tournaments, when his shot's falling, he can put up over 40 to 50 fantasy points, so for tournaments, I really like Thompson at that price tag. Devin Booker against the Pelicans, that's a terrific matchup. Booker's price has decreased and his production really hasn't. So I really like Booker at that price tag. I think he's a great play for cash games and tournaments. The guy I'm probably going to be targeting, though, is Victor Oladipo. I always mention this guy just because his price never seems to rise and he always hits value. He's probably going to be where I go for cash games based on that price tag. He shouldn't have a problem hitting value. In Oladipo's last 5 games, he's put up 19, 48, 26, 40, and 30 fantasy points, and he's played over 34 minutes in all 5 of those games. He's way too cheap at only $22 given this matchup against Washington. Washington's not great defensively against a shooting guard, and they play up in pace. So Oladipo is probably going to be where I go just based on that price tag and the matchup. I think he's a terrific play for cash games. Will Barton against Warriors, you can definitely go there if Gallinari and Fareed do not play. I'd probably just try and pay up for Oladipo though. Same goes for Gary Harris. If Fareed and Gallinari do not play, you can look towards Harris if you're wanting to pay down. Tim Hardaway against Portland. If Thabo Sefolosha does not play, you can look towards Hardaway. And I think that's it for all the shooting guard guys. If you're wanting to pay down, definitely look towards Hardaway, Harris, Will Barton. And if you're wanting to take the mid-range, I'd go with Oladipo, Booker, and Thompson. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and move on to small forward. Alright, your top small forward on this slate is KD. He gets a solid matchup against Denver. They're not great defensively, and they play up in pace. You can definitely look towards KD with that price tag. He is pretty cheap. Kawhi against Indiana, that's a solid matchup as well. I'm recording this the night before, and the Spurs are on a back-to-back. There could be a chance Kawhi rests. I doubt he would, but always be sure to note that. But if Kawhi plays, you can definitely look towards him. Paul George against San Antonio, definitely wouldn't go there. Kawhi is a great defender. But if Kawhi doesn't play, you can definitely play George. Gordon Hayward against the Clippers, that's a solid matchup, but I'm not really a big fan of Hayward's price tag. Wilson Chandler's a guy we've been targeting with Fareed and Gallinari at the lineup. Chandler is way too expensive in my opinion now. At $29, I don't think I can play him. Even if Fareed and Gallinari do not play, probably not going to go at Chandler. If I try and get my exposure to the Nuggets offense, it'd probably definitely be through Will Barton or Gary Harris. Otto Porter against OKC, that's not a great matchup. Andre Roberson is a really good defender. Don't think I'm going to go there. Rocco against Charlotte, that's not a great matchup. NKG is a very solid defender. Don't think I'm going to go there. Marcus Morris against Milwaukee, I like that matchup. Morris is pretty cheap at only $22, and he's actually been really consistent lately, so I like him if you're wanting to attack the mid-range. Wesley Matthews against Boston, that's a solid matchup as well. And Matthews is pretty cheap at only $20. You can look towards him. On the cheap end, you got TJ Warren against the Pelicans. I really like Warren as a value play in this matchup. The Pelicans are terrible defensively, and they play up in pace. These teams just played February 6th, and TJ Warren played 33 minutes and had 34 fantasy points. I feel like if he plays over 30 minutes against the Pelicans, he should easily be able to hit value at just a $13 price tag. So I really like TJ as a value play. Dario Saric has really been killing it lately. In his last 4 games, he's put up 24, 25, 42, and 37 fantasy points. He's only played 27, 21, 27, 26 minutes. I feel like if he gets over 25 minutes, he shouldn't have a problem hitting value at only $11. So I think Sarge is in play for value if you're wanting to pay down at small forward. I think that's it for all the small forwards. Let's go and move on to power forward. Alright, at the top of the power forward list, you got Blake Griffin against Utah. That's a really bad matchup, and Blake is pretty expensive. And even though he's really been crushing it lately, I don't think I'm going to go there. This is a really bad matchup, and he's pretty expensive. Paul Millsap against Portland, that's a pretty solid matchup. You can definitely look towards Millsap. But if I was wanting to attack this price range, I would go with Draymond against Denver. That's a terrific up-and-pace matchup, and Draymond's pretty cheap at only $34. You can look towards him for cash games. He shouldn't have a problem hitting value. Serge Ibaka against Miami, that's a pretty solid matchup as well. You can look towards him. But if I was going with that price range, I would definitely go with LaMarcus Aldridge over Ibaka. Aldridge has just been way more consistent this year, so if you're wanting to attack this price range right here, I would definitely go with Aldridge over Ibaka. Markieff against OKC, that's a pretty solid matchup. Markieff's price has dropped a little bit, so you can look towards him. James Johnson has really been crushing it lately. He gets a solid matchup against Orlando. His price has increased a little bit, but he's been really killing it lately, so you can definitely look towards him. That's a pretty solid matchup. Harrison Barnes' price has decreased, and this is a pretty solid matchup against Boston. You can definitely look towards Barnes with that price decrease. Ersan against Charlotte, that's a solid matchup as well. You can look towards him, but don't think I'm going to go there. You got Randolph against Brooklyn. He's definitely in play. That's a terrific matchup for Zebo. Brooklyn's terrible defensively, and they play up in pace. And Randolph has a reasonable price, so you can look towards him. The guy I would definitely target for value, though, is going to be Frank Kaminsky. Cody Zeller has already been ruled out for this game against the Sixers. In the 4 games that Zeller was out and Kaminsky started, he put up 40, 23, 35, and 44 fantasy points and played over 30 minutes in 3 of those games. Kaminsky shouldn't have a problem hitting value at only $15. Like I said, Cody Zeller has already been ruled out, so Kaminsky should get the start. Frank the Tank's probably going to be where I go at power forward. Just pay down and get him. He's probably the top value play on the slate with Zeller out, so I really like Kaminsky. Michael Beasley started Saturday with Jabari Parker done for the season. He played 25 minutes but only put up 17 fantasy points. If he gets the start, you can definitely look towards him. He's one of those guys where if he gets the minutes, he'll produce. So if Beasley starts, you can look towards him for value. But I think the optimal strategy is definitely going to be to try and get the extra $5 and pay up for Kaminsky. And that's it for all the power forwards. Let's move on to center. All right, at the top of the center list, you got Anthony Davis against the Suns. This is a terrific matchup for AD. AD's price is pretty reasonable at only $52. These teams just played February 6th, and AD had 58 fantasy points and he played 40 minutes. So AD is probably going to be the stud that I pay up for. This is a terrific matchup against Phoenix. They play up in pace, and they're bad defensively. I like that price tag at only $52. He shouldn't have a problem hitting value. I feel like he's a lot for 50 fantasy points in this matchup with upside of upwards of 70. So AD is definitely probably going to be the stud that I pay up for. Nikola Jokic against Golden State. You can definitely look towards Jokic. Not really a big fan of that price tag, but this dude has crazy upside. He can drop 70 just about any night. So you can look towards Jokic for tournaments. Don't think I'd go there in cash games, though. He is kind of expensive. Whiteside against Orlando. That's a very solid matchup. Whiteside is cheap at only $37. You can look towards him if you're wanting to attack that price range. Drummond against Milwaukee. That's a terrific matchup as well. You can definitely look towards him. Only $34. He shouldn't have a problem hitting value. Marc Gasol against Brooklyn. That's a terrific matchup. Gasol is definitely in play at only $34. He shouldn't have a problem hitting value against Brooklyn. Al Horford against Dallas. That's not a great matchup. Dallas plays at a slow pace, so don't think I'm going to go after Horford. Vooch against Miami. That's a solid matchup. Hassan Whiteside's not a great defender. Vooch's price has increased, but he's been really consistent all year. You can definitely look towards him for cash games. Brolo against the Grizzlies. That's definitely a stay away for me. Marc Gasol is one of the best defenders in the league, so definitely staying away from Lopez. DeAndre Jordan against Utah. He's probably going to have to play heavy minutes in this matchup because he's going to have to bang with Rudy Gobert, but Gobert is one of the best rebounders and defensive centers in the league, so I don't know. You could play Jordan in tournaments just because I feel like he's going to have to play heavy minutes, but in cash games, definitely don't think you have to go there. Dwight against Portland, that's a solid matchup. Dwight's pretty cheap at only $25. You can look towards him. The guy I'm going to target, though, is Marcin Gortat against OKC. This dude is still way too cheap at only $23, and he's absolutely been crushing it lately. On his last 5 games, he's put up 43, 34, 35, 35, and 35 fantasy points. Like I said, he is way too cheap at just $23. He's probably going to be locked in my cash game lineup for tonight. Way too cheap, shouldn't have a problem hitting value at just $23. And on the other side of that game, you got Steven Adams against Washington. That's a pretty solid matchup, but if I were you, I'll just try and find the extra $2 and pay it for Gortat, but if you can't afford the salary, you can look towards Adams. Jahlil Okafor and Joel Embiid are both not expected to play against the Hornets, so that means Nerlens Noel will probably get the start. Anytime this guy starts, he crushes value, so if you're looking to go cheap at center, you can definitely look towards Noel for value. There are a lot of good centers with good matchups on this slate, so I don't think I'm going to go down towards Noel, but if you're wanting to go cheap at center, he is a terrific value play. He should get the start. It should play at least 25 minutes, so he shouldn't have a problem hitting value at just $13. That's it for all the centers. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a lineup, and then I'll close it out. Alright guys, so this is a lineup I put together for the NBA slate on Monday, February 13th. If you guys have any questions, please be sure to leave them down in the comments, and I'll answer them. I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Please like and subscribe. If you never want to miss out on a video, please be sure to click the bell icon next to my YouTube name, and that'll notify you whenever I upload. But anyways, thanks for watching guys, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.